Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am Dr. Marianne Pinkston, and here to bring you some of the latest, greatest information on the better life, giving you the better life. And as usual, I bring in Ray Solano from up in Cedar Park, pharmacist who runs PDLabs, who is fantastic pharmacy nationwide, prescribes lots of great compounding pharmaceuticals. And Ray, welcome in. As always, it's lovely to have you.
Well, welcome, and thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. You are a mark in our repertoire I think every 3 weeks now, and have been for 2 years, and love having you on. You always bring lots of great information. And I know you were at a conference up in beautiful Denver, Colorado, which, since we're burning alive here in South
80 degrees.
Wonderful. And talking about CIRS. So tell us a little bit about what CIRS is and where you've been, what you've been doing, and new technology.
That's right. And, the great thing is that Boulder, Colorado is about 80 degrees, and you can actually walk outside. And I saw the skies and I saw mountains, and I went, wow, this is the way the rest of the world lives. So I can't wait to go back again. But, it was a perfect setting for a conference of a unique condition. And we've nicknamed it CIRS, it's chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And, so why did you come up with such a name? Well, unfortunately, there's a group of people that have Lyme disease. There's a group of people that have tremendous reactions to mold, to toxic mold, I should say, toxic mold, and unfortunately, it has ravages with your immune system that has these many difficult conditions and chronic fatigue and chronic immune dysfunction. So all these things are kind of lumped together. So the good thing is that Richie Shoemaker, who's been on your show some years ago, was able to uncover some of the difficulties with toxic mold and what it does to the body. And he is also, his conference, this is the Shoemaker Conference, brings back the like-minded professionals of all different disciplines and gets together training for others how to handle these patients, because unfortunately there's not enough practitioners that can be able to treat these patients, and they come from all over the world, believe it or not, to be able to get some help, because unfortunately it's not something you can go on you can get prescription medications for and you get off the shelf that is in standard box. So you can go to, these are specialty formulas designed by physicians with special pharmacies to be able to make these simple choices. And guess what? Good news is hope. To get people get their lives back. It's a good group of people and we had lots of things we uncovered.
Yeah, well, and I'll throw in now, CIRS is something that I have, and it took 16 years. Now, I'm a physician, right? And I am embedded in integrative medicine. Took me 16, almost 17 years to get diagnosed with it. So that's how limited it is in this country to find information and doctors who care and treat for this. And I'm trying to get to that point where I can treat. It's a very complicated subject. And many physicians, a lot of the medical community does not really understand or believe in it. And so it's very difficult to find in these specialty items of prescriptions. Well, prescriptions are compounded prescriptions, are not mainstream. It's not something that you'll find sitting watching TV at night. You're watching your football game. You see this commercial come up of a prescription medication. This is something that we don't know a lot about. So, having suffered with it, my daughter suffers with it. It's a very, very significant life-changing experience. Difficult to find, difficult to treat. So what is the latest and greatest and the new things that are coming out to help people?
Well, to give people a little bit of context, there's always people that are, you may be patients or people that are always complaining something's always wrong. And unfortunately, these are innocent victims that we are finding that as a result of our architecture, the way that we build our homes and offices and hotel rooms, we use a couple of items, especially when we have air conditionings. We have sheetrock, and we have wood, and we have different other materials that absorb moisture. Mm-hmm. And then when these moisture gets is absorbed. Unfortunately, we don't have, all these buildings are closed in, and we have air conditioning everywhere. Thank God for today, especially this week. But it grows, these moisture can cause the rise of these toxic molds. The damp environments, and this mold turns toxic, and it has spores, and it can be devastating. So you say, well, how many buildings? Well, I think the estimates that they said is almost 10% of the buildings.
Right.
And it may be more. And unfortunately, they don't want to have more exposures to mold because we'd have to tear down so many buildings and so many schools, okay, and old houses. So, the best thing is be aware. There are ways to treat it. There are ways to eradicate it, and that's what we're talking about. But you have to be active with it. That's the reason why you had it for 16 years. You didn't know it because it was just so mainstream, or excuse me, it was just normal. Yeah, we had a spill. We had a mold exposure. We had a wet, damp room for 15. We didn't think anything of it. Throw some bleach on it, right?
Yep.
And didn't care. You just moved on. Oh, well, why? I couldn't get off the couch for a week. Gosh, I had this chronic sinus infection. So then all my joints start to hurt. And so all these little things, they start to wear on people, and they go, how are these all related? So guess what? They are related, they are fixable, and we come up with some good solutions.
Absolutely. So yeah, I remember it was January 20th of 2007, a month after I had my son. I woke up with rheumatoid arthritis. I was normal going to bed on January 19th. On January 20th, I woke up sick. We are living at the time, living in a new house. So, it's when I tell patients, maybe it could be your environment, water damage bill. And they're like, well, I don't live in an old house. San Antonio, it's usually a very humid environment and very wet, environment. And so nothing really dries out here. Even our shoes can't dry out. How can our homes dry out from either a little toilet leak or, like you say, could it be that, we had one of those huge rainstorms while the house is being built,
That's right.
Talk over it. There it goes.
There it goes. And it wash machines leak.
Right.
Air conditioning leaks. We have air drainage from condensation leaking all the time. So it's just, you have to be aware of when it occurs, what to look for, and to move on it. And I think that's the most important thing, is that people make sure they're educating. That's what we're doing here today.
Absolutely. So I guess a list of symptoms, patients normally don't really identify as something like this. If you've been having some, and it could be, some hormonal effects, some vitamin deficiencies. There's a lot of things that can cause, people not to feel well. But, that lack of energy, it is down to the cells of your body. You can tell each cell of your body has no energy whatsoever. It's a very phenomenal feeling. And, the brain fog, your brain just doesn't work. You ache and hurt all over your muscles, your joints, they swell. Like you say, the chronic sinus infections, headaches, there's just a laundry list of symptoms that patients can have. So I know testing for it is very interesting. And so we're going to have a lot more information, I think, coming in the future about how to get tested for it. But I know you guys are working on a line of therapies that patients can get now. So in testing and getting treated, how do we find somebody that has this and get them diagnosed and treated?
Well, I think that we always like to give people simple choices and things that are inexpensive. One of the things that people have some suspicions if they have this is if they would go to the survivingmold.com website. survivingmold.com website, and that links are on your website and as well as ours. And there's a thing called a visual contrast test. I think it costs less than $5. It's a test that was used by the Air Force to determine contrast of colors, whether the eyes were able to distinguish different contrasts. Well, they determined, I think Dr. Richie Shoemaker determined that the inflammation of these cells in the eyes and the retina, being able to handle these contrasts, is directly linked to a initial screening that there could be a mold exposure. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times we just say, you know what? It sounds like you may have some symptoms of this because it started at that point. Why don't you try and take the test? And usually they fail it miserably. And then it gives, okay, well, let's go ahead and start down this path. And we don't want to make it a torturous path. We want to at least, we try to go down some steps to make it fast track. And that's what we do. The visual contrast test, which is on survivingmold.com website. Good, nice website. Get some good information as well. I think you may have tried it. So, and there's some very, unfortunately, blood tests that are used that unfortunately may not be covered by insurance.
Right.
But they're out of pocket. But you know what? Having a chronic condition causes you to have such an economic input or devastation over your lifetime. So it's a small down payment for getting your life back on.
An investment into your health to, get appropriately diagnosed. So you need to just do it.
Well, the last time I saw Taylor Swift concerts, tickets are going for $1,000 to $2,000, and they're standing room only, and they sell out. So unfortunately, the things we choose.
That new iPhone too, right?
Yeah, new iPhone. So $1,000 is the new 100. I don't know. It's just crazy. But at our conference, we're always trying to make things simpler and less expensive for people. And we're coming up with this technology that you have been very helpful with for developing over the last years, these small particle technology, LPT, that these being able to take a liposome or these small little molecules and be able to get them into your cells easier. And easier said than done. But this is we partner with a firm out of Irving, Texas that has a patented process to take drugs and also dietary supplements and be able to put them in a mixture or a dry mixture, a powder form, and make a chewable form. Can you believe that? A chewable form of some of the most difficult drugs and supplements to be able for the cells to absorb. And that's what we found. You started with the RG3 ginsenoside chewables a year ago, and how that affected, we were able to get blood levels, therapeutic levels in the brain, and we have been able to grow and get that data and really get a stable product now. And it's amazing, right? It gets rid of the brain fog. But we still have to get to the root cause of many of these conditions. So while we're trying to help some of these symptoms, okay, so people can function and do better, we still have to get to the root cause and be able to change hormone levels. And that's what we're doing now, is we're influencing a critical hormone that we have been able to, again, get significant, we think, blood levels.
And so hormone levels, we talk about hormones, estrogen, testosterone, things like that. What kind of hormone levels are you talking about? It's a little different.
It is. The body has many different types of hormones. Dr. Richie Shoemaker some years ago discovered that this compound of drug that's out of Europe that's used for pulmonary hypertension called vasoactive intestinal peptide, VIP. This special peptide is found in the body. It's a hormone that your body does make. However, it is drastically reduced with people who have had chronic conditions and chronic inflammatory conditions. But this master hormone is a choke point for your immunity, your immune system. And you can measure your VIP levels. Dr. Pinkston, you measured yours, I think, as well. And so we're able to without getting an injection, either a nasal spray, or now we've developed a chewable that you can raise your VIP levels. And this is an essential gatekeeper hormone that turns on your immune system, this mesenchymal immune system. So that's what we found is, no matter what you do, if you don't have your VIP levels correct, then you can get sick all over again. So we think that's a significant breakthrough.
And it is. So yeah, this is the liposomal technology, and so easily chewable. Yes, I've been your guinea pig. So easily chewable and absorbable into the body, and a game changer. So I know that there's a lot of different liposomal technologies that you put into the synapsin and other things. So if patients are looking for more information besides the survivingmold.com, if they want to look into some of these other things that you have, how do patients find you?
Well, check out our website. We've got a lot of information we find to be free and educational. It's PDLabsRx.com. That's PDLabsRx.com. Check it out. There's a lot of information about vasoactive intestinal peptide, LPTs, and a lot of the other things we do. With some podcasts on our website and some educational seminars, and also our podcast with you are listed on our website. But also, if you want to have a conversation with one of our pharmacists, and it's kind of an introductory screening, just to maybe make an appointment with our clinic, one of our other consultants, we can be able to see if we can map out a strategy for you to get your life back.
You guys have so many different ways of doing that, because you also have metabolic code. So you have the Laval Performance Health Center and metabolic code that patients can also do. And Jim Laval is wonderful at dealing with CIRS as well. So we have a local or Texas-based physician.
That's right.
Accessible locally to work with you if you have CIRS. How do people get in touch with you there?
The important thing, our phone number for the Laval Performance Health Center is 512-219-0782. That's 512-219-0782. And I guess we're looking at our brand new facility, 7,500 square foot building, and we're going to throw a time frame of October for the opening. It takes, we're going to have a Texas Center of Excellence that be able to make many of these chronic conditions simplify. And I guess it takes a bunch of Texans to fix it, right?
Can't wait. So we're going to take a short break. For everybody who watches the podcast, you can go to drpbetterlife.com, find out more information on Ray Solano and PDLabs and all the previous podcasts. And we're going to take a short break and come back on the other side and keep discussing this topic.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we're suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I'm Dr. Marianne Pinkston, and here with Ray Solano, as we do once a month, every month, a pharmacist up in up in Austin. I always want to say Austin, but you're in Cedar Park, Texas.
Cedar Park, Texas. That's right.
Exactly. Little Cedar Park up there. So we've been talking about CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and some of the testing that can be done. But there's a little bit of a detour, I guess we can take at the moment, talking about a test called Genie. And, I know patients like to get genetic testing, and they talk about, 23andMe or go through ancestry.com and lots of different genetic tests out there. But this one is a very interesting and new type. I think goes a little deeper. So tell us a little bit about Genie.
Well, I'm not an expert in the test, fortunately, but I've spent some time with Dr. Jimmy Ryan, and Jimmy Ryan is one of the founders and one of the that actually designed this test this last weekend. And it's always amazing when you talk to people that their education and their intelligence is changing people's lives. It changes the world that we live in. And so I was so privileged to be able to spend some time with Dr. Jimmy Ryan and understanding how they have these, being able to take information from people's blood test and look at those nucleic acids and try to understand their sequences that they have, their nucleic acids, and be able to do a diagnosis of the exposures or what they're suffering from, of what type of infection. So really understanding on a nucleic acid basis, not even a cellular basis, of these of what is the fingerprint of the organism of what is being suffering from. So this is really something that we've groundbreaking. And what the most important thing when you have geniuses, when you're speaking to this, is they're always willing to break through the standards or the belief systems. And what we always found out, we always thought mold was people that had mold illnesses were suffering from toxic mold. And what they uncovered, and shamefully, they looked at it and says, wait a minute, it's not really mold. Or many of the people had Lyme disease, they had symptoms, and it wasn't what they were suffering from, wasn't really Lyme or mold anyway. It was an infection from a organism, Actinomyces. So it was a bacteria infection. So all of a sudden, everybody's beliefs, everybody's writings just gets shattered. But that's the beauty of science, right? Just to hit the reset button, start over again. And so I think this is what we've the Genie test has been able to uncover. Guess what? It really wasn't what we thought it was, but we have a way of fixing it. So that's, we want people to get better faster. And maybe that's what we're talking about is a way that people can, less costly, we're in really personalized medicine. I'm just so excited that this next generation of medicine is going to be personalized to the individual, not just a lump sum and being able to just put a fingerprint and say, yep, you have this, and treat you that way. That's not going to happen anymore.
Those old algorithms and recipes, that contemporary medicine builds these days. You have high cholesterol, so we'll do this. But each person is different. And so with CIRS, being more and more recognized, and you're right, so we just got through talking about how, patients are affected by toxic mold or by, Lyme, and you've got something else that's out there. So actinomyces, and I tell you, that one is a booger. So that is something else that I was found to be exposed to as well, and devastating. So, we got a lot of great information. That Genie really was interesting. So I learned a lot about some of the underlying neurological processes that I might be at risk for down the road. And that was an eye opener. So yeah, I'm interested in helping patients learn a little bit more about it. Not often covered by insurance. Actually, I don't think it's covered at all. It's a good $700+. But again, we're talking about an investment. It's a one-time thing. You don't have to repeat it later. It's a one-time thing. You get so much information. And so definitely a worthwhile process. And we're coming up on the end a little bit, Ray, but how can patients get this test if they wanted to get it?
Well, one of the things that's unique about the test, it requires a practitioner like yourself that's skilled to be able to order these tests. So it would be the areas with best contact information would be your office, which you've got a good staff that understands the couple of the intricacies of it. It has to be scheduled. These kits are just a couple little requirements for it, but you can call our clinic, Laval Performance Health Center. It's 512-219-0782. Make an appointment with our consultant or your office as well. We're gonna put a stake in the ground and say, we're gonna be specialists in the Genie test here in Texas, and we can be able to handle patients from all over the country, right?
Absolutely. So yes, this is something we are going to work on very hard and get the word out. So lots of great information today, Ray. We talked about the Laval Performance Health Center. We talked about PDLabs. I want to make sure one more time that patients can get in touch with you now. Patients can also find out more information through my website too. So drpbetterlife.com. I do have the surviving mold information, survivingmold.com. I have the old podcast about Dr. Richie Shoemaker and CIRS. You were on that as well. Lots of our past podcasts. And so how can patients get in touch with you again?
You can give us our phone number at our pharmacy is 512-219-0724 option 2. And usually I'm there answering the phone, just talking to people because we want to know how we can help people.
Exactly. Oh, you guys are wonderful. So you have a great team up there. So please, answering the phone too, not just a big corporation computer answering.
That's right. That's right.
Love it. So yes, and you can also, again, go to drpbetterlife.com, find out more information about PDLabs, pdlabsrx.com, surviving mold, survivingmold.com. Do that visual contrast test. A lot more about Genie I will add to the website this weekend, and make sure patients can find information there. You can always get in touch with me. All of my information is on the website. Again, drpbetterlife.com, and all of my past over 100 shows now. So everybody, I hope you have a great week. Ray, as always, thank you so much for being on. You are a wealth of information every time, and I always appreciate you. Any final words?
Well, thanks again. And, check out our website. And if you have someone that's suffering, have them come to give us a call, and we don't bite, and we give people some a couple of choices and a couple phone numbers. But you know what? Don't wait. Do something. Don't suffer.
Absolutely. Ray, thank you so much. Everybody have a great week.